Alrighty, Jake Stuart with the National Sports Media Association. Today, I'm joined by Florida Sportscaster of the Year, José Pañeda. Jose, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me, and very excited and looking forward to the meeting and the award ceremony morning at the end of June.
Absolutely. So are we. Well, Jose, you've been in the industry for a very long time, 32 years as the voice of the Miami Heat. I want to ask you, first of all, we talked a little bit about it before, starting this interview, but what brought you into broadcasting? What made you want to be a broadcaster?
Well, honestly, I just wanted to be in sports. And my background in college, I studied business and marketing, and I thought that I was going to be an advertiser. I thought that I was going to be producing commercials for the major companies, Coca-Cola, Heinz, everything that I liked, that I like to eat, that I like to do. And basically this opportunity became available. It's a long story. We don't have enough time, but as many of the broadcasters and many of us have, basically I took the one turn in the fork in the road in the road of life, and I ended up being the broadcaster for the Miami Heat that second year. I am one of 7 original Heat employees that are still with the team. I've been there for 34 years. I've been broadcasting for 33 years. The first year I was doing basically season ticket sales, actually, for the team, as being the only Hispanic and Spanish-speaking salesperson at the office. I did very well. And then I just saw what was going on in terms of the broadcasting side. And I was always very outgoing. I was always doing not speeches, but I spoke. I had the gift of gab, I guess you could say, as many broadcasters have. And I got my foot in the door, and the next thing I know, I was chosen to be the Spanish radio announcer, and 33 years later, here I am. 6 NBA finals, 3 championship rings, also trips to the White House, traveled all over the world in the United States, and it just has been an incredible journey the last 34 years being with the Miami Heat.
Well, what stands out to me too is, you first mentioned how, you didn't originally envision going down the broadcasting path as many do in this industry. But, like you said, you're one of the first employees for the Miami Heat. It stands out to me too is that you've been around even longer than Eric Spoelstra, the head coach of the Miami Heat. You've been around for players like LeBron James and Chris Bosh, and, now guys like Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. I wanted to ask you, what stands out to you as, you mentioned some of the, championship rings already, some White House visits, but what stands out to you as a moment that maybe some of our listeners, can't point out right away as something that really stands out to you over your time?
Well, I think that the most important thing for me was, once I got in, which is very, very difficult, as all the broadcasters know, it's such a difficult field to break into and to get into. And obviously, everybody wants to be at the top. Everybody wants to be in the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey, whatever it is, college, high school as well. It's so difficult to break in. So I'm so lucky that I was able to get in. I did try really hard, and I knew I had one moment in my lifetime. It was just one moment in my lifetime that I had, that I knew that the decision was going to either get me in, and if not, I'm not sure what I would be doing right now if that decision wasn't made that, yes, you are the next Spanish radio announcer for the Miami Heat. But I think that, at the end, what makes me most proud and most happy is that I made my parents proud. And, my parents left Cuba on their wedding day in 1960 to flee communism. They thought they were going to go back. They went to their honeymoon to Mexico, and I still have, the airline ticket of them that said Havana, Mexico City, Havana. My grandparents told them, listen, it's not safe for you to come back right now. So why don't you hold off a little bit? They ran out of money in Mexico City in their honeymoon, and they went to Miami and started from scratch with $2.15 in their pocket, and raised a family, my brother and I, and gave us an incredible education. So to see them enjoy the games, to see them in the parade that I was able to get them into, one of our victory parades, one of our championship parades, that to me is the most important part. And to see that my family as well has been able to participate, my wife and my 2 kids, in this whole, history and this whole journey of mine has been spectacular. And in my own city, with my friends, with my family. Again, that's not very common. Many broadcasters have to go wherever it is to start, and I was able to do it in my own hometown, where I was born, where I was raised, where I went to school, and that's been an incredible journey, and that makes me basically happiest of all.
That's just such a special and incredible story you bring up there, Jose. And I want to ask you. So, this is your first award from the National Sports Media Association. What does it mean to you to be honored and recognized?
Well, it's obviously an incredible honor, and I guess I've been here a long time. As you say, you've been here long enough, you'll get something. But I don't want to make it sound in any negative way. There, I'm extremely proud, and I've seen the history of this organization and what they have accomplished, and the honorees, year after year, and they are the cream of the crop, the best that there is in broadcasting, and at every level. And many of these people are my friends and have become my friends throughout the years. And I've had that's another thing that I've enjoyed throughout this journey has been, the camaraderie. The last few years has been difficult with COVID, and many of us did not travel because of COVID. And really, I didn't miss actually the travel. I'm still not happy with turbulence and packing, but I do miss, the camaraderie of speaking to all the other broadcasters that we've known for so many years. It's 34 years of traveling, and all these associations, and not just that, but my engineers, ushers in other arenas, engineers in away arenas, people, parking attendants that you've become friends with throughout these 33 years of travel, and they become friends. Front desk personnel, hotel personnel. These are people, and I call them characters, in my life that, again, if it wasn't for the travel and the heat and this business, I would never have met them. And they all have a story, and it's incredible, great journey.
You mentioned some of the other broadcasters that you've been able to work with, and some of your colleagues as well. I wanted to ask you, who are some of the inspirational broadcasters that, maybe when you started and maybe now, who are some of the guys that you look up to?
Well, again, when I grew up here in Miami, there was only a game of the week basically, and it was on CBS, the afternoon games on CBS, and was usually either the Lakers and the Celtics playing each other, and maybe Philadelphia from time to time. So if you were from Miami, you were either a fan of the Celtics, the Lakers, or the Celtics, the Lakers, or maybe the Sixers. From time to time, the Knicks as well. So, obviously everybody knew who Chick Hearn was. Everybody knew who Marv Albert was. And then throughout the years, I've been able to meet, other people and other friends, and you just study them. And also I've done, obviously, because I do my games and I broadcast my games in Spanish, I followed very much some great broadcasters that we have here from Univision, Telemundo as well, and locally that did the Spanish broadcast, let's say, of the Miami Dolphins and also of the Marlins. So I listen to them constantly to see, like everybody else does, to see what else you could pick up, see how you could learn from them, and just try to hone in on your task, on what it is to broadcast the game correctly. And sometimes you pick up little things from other broadcasters and try to use them, whether it's the yes, from a Marv Albert, or bang from our great friends. And so, we'll see what that is. I don't necessarily use the same, phrases that they use, and because it's not easy to translate that at times, but I have my own, and I've created my own, and that's worked very well.
Now, your career, Jose, has been mainly based on radio, and I want to ask you, how do you paint the picture for listeners during the game? You mentioned some of the catchphrases you use, but how do you paint a full picture, for those that aren't able to see it?
Well, again, I like everybody else does, in any language, the problem with Spanish, or the challenge, I should say, with Spanish, Spanish is trying to fit so many words in so fast, because just for instance, in Spanish, just to say hello, it's almost sometimes like 5 words. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that is the case. It's wordier, I guess. It's so fast, and I speak so fast that I try to make sure that I don't, cut off the ending of my S's, my P's. My pronunciation is correct every time, but again, it's so fast that I try to paint the picture like everybody else would do in a play-by-play situation. And again, from experience, from my colleagues, and from listening to other broadcasts, again, you want to make sure, what are the color of the seats, what are the color of the uniforms, who's in the game every time, coming in and out of timeouts. You have to assume that the radio audience that just turned on the radio at that time. So if somebody who turns on the radio, at this moment, well, who's on the court? What's the score? What's the time? What are the uniform colors? Where are you sitting? Left to right. What's the atmosphere like? What are the fans? What are the seat colors? So all this, is in my mind constantly, as is, I'm sure, in every other broadcaster, to make sure that it works out great.
Oh, my last question for you, and thank you so much for your time and for being here, especially on a game day. What advice do you have for sportscasters, maybe just looking to get into the industry now?
Well, I get a lot of calls now, and I get a lot of inquiries, especially being here in Miami, my alma mater. From high school, everybody is always, hey, I want to get into the business, or I want to be a broadcaster, and it's so difficult, as you know, to get into this business. So I just say, listen, be flexible. You also have to network, and don't be afraid to do anything. For instance, again, my path wasn't necessarily to become a broadcaster, but it did get me into broadcasting. But I did everything. I think I've done everything at the Miami Heat except put on the mascot's uniform. And I think that I came close once. But sometimes, unfortunately, you hear now, well, that's not my job. That's not, what I was here for. But sometimes you have to do that. You have to sacrifice and do whatever it takes to get in. And again, like I tell many young people that come to me that want to become a broadcasters, and say, listen, I want to be the next, whatever, Miami Heat broadcaster, major league team broadcaster. That rarely happens anymore. You have to work your way in. You have to go somewhere far from where you live, maybe in a small town, and start there in the minor leagues. But again, if that's what your dream is, and you can do it and you can afford it, well, absolutely, go and try to do that. And also just know that, you could be in sports and not be, the team broadcaster. We have around 300 employees at the Miami Heat that do everything, and everybody's very involved and very happy. And they take a lot of pride in what they do, whether you're in game ops, whether you're in finance, whether you're the accountant, whether you're in retail, again, all these, form part of what is, or an organization, a business, and you all reap the benefits, because everybody's, really giddy and happy when you're in the playoffs and we're about to win maybe another championship. And again, so that's the advice that I would give, young broadcasters or people who want to be in the sports field coming in.
Excellent advice from our 2021 Florida Sportscaster of the Year, José Pañeda. Jose, thank you so much again for your time. We look forward to seeing you this summer in Winston, and good luck tonight and the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.